This is Chris Hunt for Youth1 Basketball. I'm here with Dave Taylor, camp director for the Youth Junior Phenom camp, as well as a former coach of the Air Force Academy basketball team. How are you doing today, Dave?
Doing great. Appreciate you guys being here. Looking forward to it.
Great. So everyone knows that you're out here directing the camp, but you're also known as a very inspirational speaker for youth athletes. Can you just go into a little bit on the role of words and messages to send and deliver onto these youth athletes?
Well, I appreciate that compliment. I'm not sure everyone agrees with you, but I do like to tell the kids what I think they need to know, especially on a motivational side. A lot of times they don't really get a lot of honest instruction and an honest evaluation. So I've played at the Division I level, coached at the Division I level, and I have a lot of Division I coaching friends. And I think I know a little bit more than most, not more than all, but I like to demonstrate to the kids what it's going to take to get to that next level through drill instruction, also through what it takes to do, what they have to do off the court, academically, work ethic, things of that nature, character building. So this is a camp that really emphasizes as much on an off-the-court performance as it does on the court. Especially at this young age, I think you can really mold these players into something we really think will be special down the line.
So what are some specific messages that you said to these kids that you really feel would hit home the most and that they would take after the camp and remember for the rest of their life?
Well, we talk about no drugs. I do a Len Bias speech, which I'm about ready to get to do right now, and I think that's something that the kids don't even know. And they hear about it, they go home, they Google it, they YouTube it, and they realize what a great man this person was, a phenomenal athlete. And if drugs can take him down, they can take anyone down. So we really preach that. We preach academics, GPA, the importance of SAT taking and core courses, things that you might think at this age, well, they don't need to know those things, but we want it in their heads early, and we talk a lot about that. I also give a message that they're not allowed to date until they go to college. So, because I always have that message that, girls will mess up your game. So we try to really, let the kids know that if they want to get a scholarship, they have to sacrifice, they have to focus. They can't go out and party, hang out until 2 in the morning. They can't do the things other students might be able to do because they're special. And only a special person can receive a scholarship. So we want them to understand the commitment that's necessary, the sacrifice, the education. I make every kid write a paper. They have to write 2 papers while they're here, 1 page, handwritten, and then I review all of them, and I call the kids over if they're not doing well. If the words are spelled incorrectly, I let them know that this is not acceptable. So we really do work hard as a coaching staff. You don't see this at other camps, in my opinion. I've worked at camps all over the country for 20 years, and we do things a little different here, and we really love that emphasis. The kids love it to a certain extent. They don't all enjoy writing the papers, but I think that when it's all said and done and they go home, they take something from it. And what we want them to take from this camp is, in order to be a scholarship athlete, it's more than just how many points can you score. It's about character, honor, integrity, intelligence, academics, the whole gamut.
Fantastic. So for the time that you've been here at the camp so far, have you seen a lot of improvement in, I guess, the athletes' body language or their attitude during the drills and the games from the things that you've told them early on in the mornings?
Yes, that's a good point. It always improves throughout the days. Friday it starts off a little slow. They're dragging. Their entourage is following them around a little bit, so they kind of have that swagger where they think they're better than others. But as the day goes on, the effort level increases. And by the time Sunday hits, I'm really pleased with where they are. I just get worried because I know I'm sending them back out to where they won't have that discipline and structure. These kids will do whatever you ask of them. If they know where that line is, they won't cross it. When the line is fuzzy, they'll keep pushing it. And that's where we have the issues where kids shoot too much. They're selfish. They don't pass the ball. They talk back. They yell at the coaches. We get that. And we have to let them know that's not acceptable. Even if it is on your AAU team at home, it's not acceptable in the real world, and you're not going to get a scholarship. So I definitely see a huge increase in attitude and effort. But these are young kids. They're great kids. I mean, 6th, 7th, and 8th grades, they're impressionable. And we don't lose them yet. When you get to 10th, 11th, and 12th, you might have some kids that are lost. And you can't get them back because they've been ingrained in bad performance and bad attitude for 5 or 6 years. But this is something we really look forward to, is the improvement on a day-to-day basis.
Given your experience throughout the years coaching and speaking to young players as well, where do you feel that there's been a time where that issue of not being disciplined and not being focused and having a bad attitude, where do you feel like that starts? Is it much more at a younger age, or is it during the middle school or even in the high school years? Where do you think that happens?
I would say it starts around the 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade maybe on some, but it bleeds into the high school divisions. And I think once you get to the high school division of AAU, where you have coaches that are more about winning and trying to get their own name out there and trying to get endorsements for themselves or get jobs, I think that you see a very distinct devaluation on the morals and ethics and character. And, you'll have kids that'll fly in and play the game the next day. They haven't practiced all week and yet they're going to play. So you'll see a lot of things where kids are not being taught what it takes to play at that next level. And we make the kids read an article from Michael Beasley that he wrote in the Wall Street Journal, and they had to read it. It's about the ills of AAU, basically, and they have to write a reaction paper to that. So I think it starts in the 8th grade, and I think that if you don't catch it early, by the time it's 10th grade, it's too late.
Okay, one last question. What would be the one thing that you would tell an 8th grader going into high school, starting to get into more competitive basketball, how to develop their game, either mentally or physically?
Well, I think they have to understand what coaches are looking for, and they're looking for fundamentals and skills, and that's something that the Europeans are doing much better than us. And we are better athletes. We have a better knowledge at times, but we have very poor skill development. We ran a 3-on-2 continuous drill. They don't know how to run a fast break. They don't know how to play without dribbling. If you try to do a 5-on-5 offensive half-court game, they can't do it unless you dribble. Take the dribble out, force them to learn how to play without the ball. I want them to go to fundamental skills camps in the 9th and 10th grades and then start getting evaluated in the 11th and 12th. That's my opinion. Go to camps like we have here at the Phenom camp where you're getting games, where you're being evaluated, and instruction. So you're getting a message. You're getting everything. Don't just go to these events where all you do is play and you run up and down the court and you're not getting evaluated in the right way. You're not being told that's the wrong thing to do. So I really want them to understand what it takes. And I wear jerseys of old school players every day. I wear 3 or 4 different ones because I want them to understand the history of the game. They have to watch the NBA channel. They have to understand the history of the game. I could say, who was David Robinson? They say who. It's like, come on now. So, I really want these kids to understand in order to be successful, like in anything, if you want to be a doctor, you have to be a student. If you want to be a great basketball player, you have to be a student. You have to study the game. So I want them to do their homework, study, watch film, watch a lot of game film, watch the old school games and learn something from that. And that's a message we preach out here constantly. And I think that the more kids that understand that, the better we'll be as a country in with regards to basketball.
Fantastic messages from a fantastic person. Dave Taylor, representing USA Basketball as they're out there in London playing for the Olympics. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll see you throughout the rest of the weekend.
Thank you very much.
For Youth1.com, I'm Chris Hunt, and we'll see you back out there on the court.